everyone, Darren Hunt here. I am with Michael Sanz. Now, Michael, a number of years ago, I was actually doing training. This is well before we came together as Inspire Growth Training. And I was doing a seminar, I don't know, what, 4 or 5 years ago in Melbourne. And I was promoting the property owner handbook and the tradesperson's handbook. And at the time, the tenant handbook as well. And you went and purchased all three. And so we've just re-released the property owner's handbook. We've re-released the tradesperson's handbook, and we are working on re-releasing the tenant handbook very soon. Michael, how did these handbooks, now you're a smart guy, you could have easily written these yourself. Why did you feel that you wanted to buy our Word document versions? How did that work for you?
There was no way I was ever going to be able to write that much content, sit down and focus and write that much. It'd be impossible for me. I mean, busy as I am, just knowing what are the topics to kind of put in there. When I saw the booklet to start with, and again, this is pre-us, I thought that's got the bones that I actually need to work on something myself. So it was basically done. And all I did was get the report, download them, and they came to me in a Word format, which was perfect. I added a lot of the things in there. So for example, I would list on 13 plus websites. I added all the websites that we listed in there so the owners knew about our advertising and marketing, and all the small points of difference that I did, I added them in there. The benefit for me was time. I just didn't have the time, and you had done it. And for me, the price that I paid for it, I can't remember. I think it was about $1,000 for all three, or even more. But it wasn't even the price that determined it. I wanted something, you had it, and it was done.
So you bought something instead of shelling out your time. So you realize that your time was worth a hell of a lot more. And I think most officers know, I think when they begin a project like this, they never finish. They never actually finish it off. And I know that this handbook will take an experienced property manager. The property owner's handbook alone, let alone the tenant handbook and the tradesperson's handbook, probably take 15 to 20 hours. And that's already, if you're looking at $100 an hour for company time, that's already getting up to that $1,500, $2,000. So the price we got it, which is actually $397 for the handbook's pretty good. Now, Michael, let's talk about, you got the handbooks, you got the Word documents, and you and I know you've got specific photos that you like. So we actually did have some old stock photos that you removed, put your stuff in, you made it yours, you branded it up. How did you use that in face-to-face listing appointments? How did you use the handbooks to win the business?
So what I first did, because I had a really amazing photocopier in the office, I printed it off into a booklet. And whenever I would go out for listing appraisals and I was meeting the owner, I would bring that booklet out. It looked all nice and polished. And I would show Mr. and Mrs. Landlord, once you sign up with us, I also give you this book too. Lets you know everything about what we do, how we manage the property, how we advertise it, how we collect rent. And also, we also had some local legislation in there too. And they loved that, right? But then I would then show them the tenant booklet too, the one that I would give to the tenants. Mr. and Mrs. Landlord, this is also how thorough we are in showing your tenants what we expect from them. And how they should maintain the property. We even go as far as the type of cleaning products that you would use on wooden floors and carpets and, wet mop, dry mop, and they would be impressed. And then I would bring out, and then here is our tradesperson hand guide, and here's our agreement that we get the tradesperson to also sign. And then I would use that line in there that, as you know how important it is. If a tradesperson goes out to a property, the last thing you want is for them to be talking to the tenant and telling them what the issue is. You would much prefer them to speak to us, and then we can speak to you and the tenant and make sure everything is rolled out properly. The last thing you want is a tenant calling up, arms in the air, screaming that the house isn't fit for habitation. Also, we spelled out to them that how we expect to be invoiced from the tradesperson to information on the invoices. Owners loved that. Now, we kind of changed how we did a lot of our listings in the end. We would do a lot remote because owners were interstate, overseas. We changed how we targeted new business. And we would send out with our pre-listing information a copy of the contents page. So this is all the information you get in the booklet. This is what we cover. And we use it as a selling point. The amount of money that I paid for the actual booklets, for me, was irrelevant because I got tenfold back just by how I marketed the actual hand guides, because owners could see it as a proof statement. I know we harp on about proof statements. I still use that same booklet, Darren. In fact, today I was sorting out an email for a tenancy that just moved in, and he got the booklet, right? And this was also one of the landlords. I think I've actually spoken about them in one of our presentations. Whereas a Friday, they sent us a message about their property, and I sent them a CMA on the Sunday. On the Monday morning, they sent me the photos of the property. I sent them off the owner's hand guide. They loved it. So all their tenants got the booklets there. So that's been a really, really good investment for me.
That's really good. So everybody, Property Owner's Handbook's been released in Australian, New Zealand version. You just have to amend it to your office practices, tweak it to your legislation, add your brand, make it yours. And the tenant handbook is not too far away as well. We just got it in first draft at the moment. There's a bit of work to do on it, and we will re-release those. But Michael, thank you so much, and it's good to know you're still using the handbooks.